Growth operating is one of the best business models out right now. You don't need a big audience. You don't need to be taking 10 calls a day. You help coaches and info founders scale by fixing what's broken in their funnels. And the craziest part is that one client could pay you anywhere between $5,000 to $15,000 a month. And that's because it directly helps their business grow. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to get your first growth operating client step by step from zero. Now, first off, what is growth operating? Growth operating is a person that is behind the scene for these big creators. People like TJR, Brez Scales, Nathan Adler, they all have one thing in common. They sell courses. And as a growth operator, you're the person behind them that helps with their marketing and sales systems. What you do is you build, optimize, and manage the systems that build revenues for their coaching programs. You're not the face of a brand. You're like the architect behind it that moves the pieces that actually correlate to money. For example, when someone clicks a link, they're now a lead, and then that lead turns into a book call, and that book call turns into a closed deal. And the reality is that most coaching businesses have strong offers with messy systems. Their funnels are outdated, their closers aren't doing their job, their follow-up system is poor, and that's exactly where you come up and you clean it up for them. Now, the next thing is, who are you helping? Your ideal client are coaches, consultants, or course sellers doing anywhere between $10,000 to $50,000 a month. They have some sort of momentum and probably no back-end system set up. They rely on organic lifestyle content to get leads in, but when someone enters their pipeline, it gets chaotic and nothing happens after that. There's no nurture, there's no retargeting, there's no emails or SMS being sent out. And these guys are overwhelmed. They want to scale, but the thing is that they, number one, don't know how to, and they're burnt out because they're more than likely taking all the calls. Now, what are you offering? It's very, very simple. You help them scale by managing and rebuilding their backend systems. So that's things like funnels, SMS, emails, appointment flows, follow-ups, all the boring stuff that actually drive revenue. Now, here's exactly how you position yourself to kind of separate yourself from all the noise that's currently out there in the growth operating space. You want to position yourself as, I help coaches and consultants increase their bill calls and scale their backend system by using a proven growth operating system. And the one thing I want every single one of you guys to make sure is to understand that you are not selling the tool, you are selling the results. So make sure to focus on that. Now, the way you're going to send it depends on your expertise. If you're someone who already has some sort of client, you then want to have a startup setup package, because the reality is that once you set up those tools, the creator can now just leave. So you want to have a setup fee, and that could be anywhere between $1,000 to $5,000 if you're a beginner. Now, if you have hundreds of thousands of dollars already collected, or maybe even $1 million collected, you could bring that up to $10,000 to even $15,000 just as a setup fee. But if you're just starting out, don't worry too much about the setup fee. The biggest thing is getting that first client, getting that first testimonial, and then going from there. Now, typically, if you're just starting out, the way your deal would work is zero upfront and anywhere between 20 to 30% of revenue cash collected. So if you're on a 25% cash collected and they cash collect $100,000, you take $25,000 home for yourself. The next thing you're probably wondering right now is like, okay, Edmund, how do I find a client? Now, the reality is that the same things have always worked. You're just not putting in enough numbers. Now, there's numerous ways of finding a client. And if you were sitting here in this video thinking like, okay, what's the best way of finding a client? There isn't a best way. And the reality is, if I told you a best way, it wouldn't work anymore, because everyone would use it and it would no longer be a best way. But what I can do is I can tell you what does and doesn't work. Now, what does work is Instagram outreach. Those never get old. Those are where most of the coaches and consultants are going to be. What does not work is sending the same message over and over and over and over again. You have to continue A/B testing. Now, what does work is following up with people. Understand that these coaches and consultants, they are busy people. They have a lot going on. Your first message may not reach them. Your second message may not reach them. And maybe it's your third message that you need to send in order to reach them. What I can tell you is to follow up at least 3 times with these guys. If they don't answer by then move on. Next thing is emails. This is one thing that a lot of people don't really try, but emailing some of these guys, if you can find their email, that is where most people are not. And if you want to get better results than most people, you have to do what most people aren't doing. So that is finding their emails, and their emails can easily be found on their Instagram, TikTok bio, YouTube bio, or just searching up. Some people may have LinkedIn. You can find their emails right there, but honestly, it's not hard to find. And when you do find them, your likelihood of getting a response is much higher compared to just doing a straight DM. Now, there's some do's and don'ts when doing outreach. The first and most important thing with outreach is getting out of the request folders and getting inside of the general. You're better off saying something like, hey, hi, hello, just to get you outside of that request folder, because that gives you a much higher likelihood of them responding. But ultimately, there is no perfect script. I want you to try different scripts out, see what does work and see what doesn't work, and then obviously continue to do what does work. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to send 25 for outreach every single day. Do that for 7 days, and by that point, you are going to hop on a call. If you don't hop on a call, or if you're not getting responses, Easy, just switch up your script. Understand that these guys are looking for people to manage their coaching programs, whether that's you or another person. So keep reaching out and eventually you will find someone. Now, the next part is how to actually deliver results. Now, for most clients, the way it's gonna work, it's gonna be VSL to application to calendar. Now, if you don't know what a VSL stands for, it stands for a video sales letter. It looks something like this. If I'm a good editor, I'll put it up. If I'm not, then I won't put it up. But it looks something like that. And now inside of the VSL, you tell them to apply to work with the creator one-on-one. And then from there, they book a call on the calendar. Now on the back end of things, you have a 5 to 12 day email nurture sequence. Now the emails, the way that I like to write them is the first email is to get them right back inside of the funnel, send them back to the VSL to apply to work with the creator one-on-one. The second email is testimonials. The third email is more testimonials. The fourth email is a story about the creator, how they got to where they are. And then the fifth email is urgency and scarcity on the offer. And that could be anywhere, and that could be anything like 5 spots left or 50% off. Now, some of the tools that you're gonna be using is Zapier to do all the automations, Go High Level as a CRM tool, ConvertKit, or known as KitNow, as an email marketing software, Typeform to collect data, obviously, Typeform to collecting data, obviously, and ClickFunnels for setting up the landing pages and website. If you're someone who wants to learn a little bit more about what all of this entails, click that first link below to work with me one-on-one. Now, how do you actually get paid? Now that you have a client, you know exactly what you're going to pitch them, it's time to hop on a call. Now, when you hop on a call, guys, I'm gonna keep it fairly honest with you guys. This is B2B. Understand, when you're selling B2B, it's very logistic based. You have to make it make sense to the person. If you're selling to someone in the B2C space, which is business to consumer, you want to sell them more so the dream of just making X amount of money. If you're selling to something like a trader or a drop shipper, sell them that they're going to be able to get a Lambo next month. If you're selling someone who's in a B2B space, like business to business, it's going to have to be more logistical, and they are going to have to visually see how you're going to get them to X goal. Now, ultimately, you want to go through the call first, discover where they're at, where they want to be, create a big gap in between where they want to be, and have your tool as a solution to getting them there. And then you pitch your offer. If your offer logistically makes sense and you've built the gap enough from where they currently are to where they want to be, and you've placed your offer as a solution, they will take it if it logistically makes sense. Now, if you're pitching them an offer that's like $10,000 and you have no testimonials or results, then it doesn't make sense. But if it's maybe like a $2,000 retainer and 20%, and it makes sense, maybe you guys can negotiate and figure it out. But once you tell them the offer on the call, just be quiet and then handle all objections. Now, to wrap it up, I'm gonna give you guys a couple of steps that I want you to take after this video. I want you to pick one niche, whether that be fitness, day trading, e-com, real estate, whatever the case may be. Pick one niche, and I want you to do 25 outreaches every single day. Now, with this outreach, the main goal is for you to get into the general or the primary tab, to get out of the request filter. Now, I'm not going to give you a specific script because, once again, if I give you a script, then it's not going to work. Outreach to 25 people over every single day, and out of all those 25, find 5 of them their email, and then do the same exact thing, outreach to them via email. Email is something that a lot of people do not use, but if you can use and figure out how to utilize it the right way, you will make a fuck ton of money. Now, when you get a response from these guys, getting them on a call is just simply by creating a Loom and showing them what they're currently at and where you can get them. Now, you don't want to build a gap on the Loom, but you just want to show them where they're currently at, where you could get them, and then have your offer as a solution. And within 1 to 2 weeks, you're gonna land your client. If you're doing every single thing that I taught you in this video, you will land your client. And once you do land that client, just work as hard as humanly possible to getting them results. And once you get them results, put up a testimonial, and then clients will start coming automatically. And the one thing I also want you guys to remember is to never stop doing outreach, because a client can be gone just like that. But that's exactly how you become a growth operator. If you're someone who wants to work with me one-on-one and wants personal help in this, click the first link below to apply to work with me one-on-one. If you're someone who wants me to scale their coaching programs, click the second link below. I have an offer for you. Check it out. If you like it, book a call. If you don't like it, then I will see you next time. Take care.